everyone. My name is Darlene Arneson, and I serve as the Ag in the Classroom Coordinator here at Wisconsin Farm Bureau. And I want to welcome you to this session. So I'm going to talk a little bit about careers in agricultural education. I serve, as I mentioned, as the state coordinator for Wisconsin Ag in the Classroom. Wisconsin Farm Bureau is a general farm organization. We're located in Madison on the west side. We're a general farm organization, and we have about 35 staff members. So there are lots of different careers within our organization, and we all vary quite a bit in what we do. We have some who work in the member relations division, and that's the division that I'm in, but the others in member relations work with our promotion and education committees, our Farm Bureau Institute, which is a leadership training. We have some who work with our YFAs, or our Young Farmer and Agriculturalist program, so they're working with those younger people, trying to get them involved in activities and leadership opportunities. And then we have 9 staff members who live and work out of their homes around the state, and they're called district coordinators. We also have a public relations division, and we have people in that area who are graphic artists. There are people who work with social media and doing media interviews on television and radio. We have writers, and then we also have people who help put together our publications. We have a government relations division here at Farm Bureau. We have 4 people in that area. I believe 3 of the 4 are registered lobbyists. So as our farmer members develop the policy and resolutions that we want to work with legislators and rules makers and so on, that's the group in that division who works with them. And then we have a finance division, which is always important in paying our bills and helping to raise money and things like that. But I have been in this position since 2004, and I work with all of our education programs that are especially geared towards the schools of K through 12 education. So when you go into education related to agriculture, you have a couple options in what we call formal or non-formal education. And so formal, I have done that as well. I was a high school agriculture teacher. My background is that I grew up on a dairy farm outside of Verona, and I was active in 4-H and FFA. FFA is a youth organization that is kind of centered around the agriculture education courses that a middle school or high school might have. So I was very active when I was in high school. I served as a state officer, and I wanted to continue that. So I went to UW-Madison and majored in agricultural education, and I taught high school agriculture at Cashton, which is up near Westby and Viroqua, kind of the La Crosse area. And then when my husband and I got married, then I taught at Cambridge, which is just east of Madison. So that's teaching in a formal setting. And so teaching agriculture today would involve teaching, again, middle school, high school agriculture. We have some magnet schools. We have some elementary schools such as Sages in the Waupun area that specialize in agriculture. And so we have some opportunities where you can teach agriculture in a variety of different ways in a school setting. But then we also have the non-formal, and that's how I'm teaching right now, where I'm not a certified teacher anymore, but I'm going into classrooms. I'm working with 4-H clubs, FFA chapters, and helping them to learn about agriculture and to share that information with others. So it's kind of fun that I've been able to do both. And now I always kind of joke that I get to go into schools, but only for the fun things, to make butter or to teach them, about animal agriculture, about crops and so on. But then I don't have to do the grades or the discipline and so forth. So it's kind of a mixture of both. So a day in my life can be in a variety of different places. So we're going to look at some of these pictures, and I can tell you about some of the things that I do. In the upper left is part of our teacher bus tour training. Every summer I take teachers and some of our Ag in the Classroom volunteers on a 2-day bus tour that we go to schools and agribusinesses and help the teachers learn about Wisconsin agriculture. The middle picture on the top is a presentation by the Wisconsin Beef Council. Part of my responsibilities too, some days I'm working very closely with our commodity groups in Wisconsin, because many of them, like the Beef Council, the Christmas tree growers, the dairy farmers of Wisconsin, the cranberry growers, maple syrup producers, the honey producers, soybean growers, have educational resources. So part of my job is to connect those resources and to make sure teachers are aware of them. So sometimes we're working on resource development together, that I may be sitting at my my computer and trying to write some lesson plans and do those types of things. And other times I'm helping to share the resources that they have. So we work pretty closely together that way. The upper right-hand picture is at Farm Technology Days. So several years ago when it was in Jefferson, we did one day that specialized in bringing students to the Farm Technology Days site and focused on careers. So we had stations around Farm Tech Days in the tent city where they could go and visit with different businesses to learn about their careers. So part of what I do too in my job duties is a lot of event planning and organizing meetings and activities such as this. On the bottom row, the middle picture is up at Farm Wisconsin Discovery Center in Manitowoc. And so part of my job is helping to educate. I serve on an advisory committee for this new education learning center, where we're looking at what types of programs can they be presenting, what types of hands-on activities. And this girl is sitting in a combine simulator. So she's actually combining, it looks like soybeans that she might be working on. And how can we bring in funding for things like that? And what types of lesson plans can connect to that? And also part of my role is helping to promote this learning center to the schools and volunteers that I work with. On the bottom right is at Wisconsin State Fair. One of the fun things I get to do is to work with our State Fair Day Camp, which is for incoming 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. So we will get about 80 students per day for the days that we offer it at State Fair. And so we have hands-on activities. We take them around State Fair. We go down the big slide. We go to the pig races, but we also go into the different animal buildings. We go through the horticultural displays and we help them see the educational part of the fair and what they can do by becoming involved in 4-H and Scouts and some of the other opportunities. So the cool part about my job is that every single day is usually different from one another. Before COVID hit, I also spend some time in the office. My busiest times of the year are between May and October. And that's because that's when a lot of our Wisconsin events are going on, such as June Dairy Month and county fairs and state fair and farm technology days. It's when I do my summer bus tour and my volunteer training. But I use whatever time I'm in the office to administer. We have teacher mini grants and matching grants that we do. We have a 4th and 5th grade essay contest. We have Ag Day activities. And so, so developing those programs, getting the public relations pieces put out. We do daily Facebook posts. Now we're doing virtual training Tuesdays where we're recording and posting to YouTube different training videos for our volunteers and teachers. So I like my job because every day is different. I'm a one-person department, so that is always a challenge too. So what type of education and qualifications do you need if you want to go into education? This is a picture of myself years back when FS was buying one of my steers at the Dane County Fair. To be the Ag in the Classroom coordinator, you need to have a 4-year college degree to work for Wisconsin Farm Bureau. You needed experience in education, and I needed a background in agriculture. Obviously, if I'm trying to help our volunteers host farm tours or going into classrooms and teach about agriculture, or if I'm going into the classrooms or I'm writing lesson plans, I need to have that background in education. I need to understand the terminology that teachers are looking at. It's very difficult to get into schools, and so knowing how to correlate our lesson plans and activities to the educational standards that are being used. And now during COVID, in order to use some of the educational virtual platforms that the schools are using, requires me to keep up on that. If I was still teaching high school agriculture, I would still need that 4-year degree. I also need to student teach, and now the students that we call pre-service students, and those are students who are in college who want to be teachers, are doing some mentorships and job shadowing and school visits well before they do their student teaching. And again, that background in agriculture is important. So for those of you that are from a farm or maybe are interested in being involved in agriculture, I really encourage you to look at getting some experience, working on a farm or working in some type of agribusiness to help fill in that background information. The skills that are needed for my job or any job related to education and the other non-formal education opportunities in our state. I showed the picture of Farm Wisconsin, which is in Manitowoc. I believe they have 9 or 10 people on their staff, and many are working with their education programs. They just hired the former Allison Dairyland to work with some of their school outreach and educational programs. When I look at some of my commodity group partners, some also have education backgrounds, so they're developing their resources and going into schools and classrooms or working through their organization's membership and so forth. So, but all of us have to be organized. You know, one of the things that we have found is teachers' time is very, very valuable, and so is our volunteer members. So if we're going to have activities or put on programs or plan meetings, we need to be organized and to know where things are. Attention to detail is important, and you know, knowing that we can't wait till the last minute, or we don't have somebody who's looking over our shoulder. I'm the only person employed by Farm Bureau who works with Ag in the Classroom. And so I have to look at my schedule. I have to look ahead and know what needs to get done and to plan my time accordingly. Public speaking is important, and really that's important, and as well as the next one, writing. In any job that you're going to have, communicating with coworkers, communicating, you know, with our membership. I do a number of media interviews when we send out a press release. And for example, 2 weeks ago, I was at outside because I couldn't go inside because of COVID. We presented our Teacher of the Year award at Rio Elementary School. And so, so I needed to be able to take pictures that were good quality that we could use on our website and social media. We also sent those pictures out with a press release. And once we sent it out, we had calls from 4 different newspapers who wanted quotes, who wanted contact information for the teacher, who wanted some background on the award. And so the ability to do public speaking and to write, you know, obviously we can all use spell check and grammar check and so on, but still having those basic writing skills and being able to put together, you know, documents and lesson plans is really important. And especially when I'm looking at my audience, which is teachers, I need to make sure that what I'm doing, you know, is correct, and what I'm sending out is grammatically correct and not misspelled, because sometimes they'll look at something and if it isn't what they want to see, you know, they're just going to delete that email or not pay attention and so forth. I also need financial background. We have budgets to follow. So I have an annual budget. We do some fundraising, and so I have to work with 2 fundraising opportunities that our Farm Bureau Foundation has, a golf outing as well as a silent auction. And so I need to know what my expenses are. We need to make a profit. And when I'm doing programs such as our teacher training and our bus tour and our essay contest, when I reach out to sponsors for that, they want to know, where does that money go and how is it used? And once I have a sponsorship, I need to make sure those projects are getting done within that budget. So the ability to use spreadsheets and to have some basic accounting skills is very important. The other skill that I need to have is I need to be able to haul a lot of things. So with Ag in the Classroom, and some of you might have, since you're in Fond du Lac, I know Fond du Lac or Envision Fond du Lac has a very active Ag Ambassador program. So they use a lot of our materials, and you might have seen our Ag Career for You books or This Business Called Agriculture. When those books come in, I order them 60,000 at a time. So it's about a half a semi-truck of books that are coming in, and we don't exactly have any staff. So that's me that's hauling them and using our farm pickup to move them around. Or when I go to Farm Tech Days for 3 days, I'm moving displays, I'm moving all the boxes and so forth. So, so that ability. So sometimes the physical ability is important as well. And also the social skills. We're working with our membership, we're working with volunteers, we're working with teachers, and trying to engage them into using, you know, our resources, and to going on our bus tours. And so, you know, I think good social skills is always important. As far as the pay range, that's going to vary quite a bit. I would say in all of education, we're probably looking at a $35,000 per year starting range. At Farm Bureau, some of our staff are hourly employees where they're keeping a time log of their time, and some are salaried where we're paid a set amount for each year. And some weeks we have a 40-hour week, and some weeks we have a 70-hour week. It just depends. And so as you look at education, most education, whether you're in a classroom or whether you're in a position such as myself, will usually offer some type of insurance, retirement plan, some vacation time. I have a company vehicle, but I didn't always have one. And that was part of that math calculation, that it costs more to pay mileage than it did to lease a vehicle and have me use it that way. And so sometimes when you look at education, that might be part of it. If you were teaching in a school setting, then again, most of the schools will have some type of insurance and retirement plans and vacation days. And that doesn't always mean when the students are on vacation. Teachers have in-service days and need to be there earlier. Some of the agriculture teachers have what we call summer contracts. So they have a contract to work during the summer, working with the students, supervised ag experience programs, helping with the fairs. They have their professional development conference then. So that will vary a little bit. Classes to take in high school. If you have an interest in agriculture and maybe going into education, I would really encourage you that if your school district offers agriculture classes, to take them and to take as many as you can. Most of the agriculture programs that we have in our state will offer a variety of different semesterized classes. Some may be year-long, but they will range from animal science to horticulture to business classes to general intro to agriculture. They might be a food processing class, it might be a biotechnology class, but I really encourage you to take a wide variety of those, because you never know what part of agriculture might really jump out at you. Business classes are important. Again, that accounting and the math skills and so forth are very important. English classes, especially writing, are important. And there is an awful lot of chemistry and science in agriculture. And so what I discovered, and this is whether you go to a technical college or whether you go to a four-year college or whether you're an apprentice, you are going to be using chemistry. Our soil science, our food science, our agronomy, there's so much chemistry and science related to that. So keep that in mind and make sure that if you have those opportunities to take those classes in middle school and high school, that you do. Technology classes, we use computers all the time in agriculture. We're seeing more and more, of drones. We're using GPS. We're using auto steer on different types of equipment. When we look in farm shops, oh my goodness, there's just a ton of technology and so forth that we're using. We have a lot of dairy operations that might be going to robotic milkers, or that they have chips on the cows' collars or in their ears, and the ability to use that data is so important. And then family and consumer science. Obviously, agriculture is kind of the farm to table. And knowing how to process food, knowing the background about nutrition and so forth is critical. And if you want to go into education related to agriculture, whether it's in a school setting or non-formal, many of our commodity groups, the education people, also wear some type of nutrition hat. So if they're working for Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin, they're working for the Beef Council, they're also doing food demonstrations. They're talking about the importance of drinking milk, and they're talking about the nutrition in honey and maple syrup and cranberries. So having that background in family and consumer science is very important. My advice to you as an older person looking at, and what I told our kids are in their late 20s now, is to try something new. Don't just stay with what you know best. Look at the courses that are available at your school. And when you're looking for jobs, think outside the box. We all don't have to be in food service and there's nothing wrong with going into food service, but, ask others to let you job shadow and to see what types of agribusinesses are in your area. And you are very fortunate in the Fond du Lac area to have so many different types of ag-related businesses. So find out who will allow job shadowing, who offers summer jobs and after school. I just watched a wonderful video of Sargento, which is a cheese company, and they actually have high school positions there that they work with their school to work programs. So they have jobs at Sargento that are specifically for high school students. So maybe there's businesses in your area that offer that. Ask a lot of questions. When you get together for the holidays, ask that uncle who works in something with natural resources, or he does something at the co-op, or your aunt does something with marketing. Well, what do they do? Because you may be surrounded by people who are working in agriculture that you might have an interest in that area, and they'd be a perfect person to introduce you to some of their coworkers, or let you come in and job shadow, or learn about what they're doing. Meet with your school counselors. And then I really encourage you to start working on a resume. Those are really helpful. I know our kids found that once they had their resume done, it helped them fill out scholarship, applications and questions. And we kind of made a list of all the possible scholarship questions that might be on applications. And I had my kids write their answers. And then I had an uncle who was really good at English. He kind of proofread them all, and they could cut and paste those into applications. So start that research early and start working on that preparation a little bit early. As we get towards the end here, there's a couple of websites if you want to learn about education and agriculture. One is our Wisconsin and National Ag in the Classroom websites. This one here is a student center on the National Ag in the Classroom website. They have a great career seeker part. There's actually 6 blocks on this page, on this landing page. And that one in the middle, the Careers in Ag videos, there's 40 different videos related to all different parts of agriculture. On the right is Ag Explorer. That's part of the FFA's career awareness. And that agcareers.com is a link to a website that lists all different types of jobs that are currently available in agriculture. So that helps to answer your questions about, how much do they pay and where do you work and working conditions and things like that. The other website, if you're interested in teaching agriculture, is the Teach Ag website that the National Association of Agriculture Educators has. And they actually have a National Teach Ag Day every fall. So this past year, it was on September 17th. And they have some great resources and videos about people that are going into agriculture education. So it's a great resource to take advantage of and to learn about what it's like to be a classroom teacher. And we certainly are looking for people to go into education, and especially on that middle school and high school level. And in some of our schools, if you go down the road from Fond du Lac down to Waupun, I believe they have 4 ag teachers. Each one specializes in some different areas. They have a greenhouse, they have an animal facility, and so a smaller school district, the ag teacher is teaching all the classes and working with the FFA. In our larger districts or bigger programs, you may see that specialty. So I really encourage you to check that out. So hopefully I appreciate you taking time to attend this breakout session on careers in education and agriculture. It certainly is an area that offers lots of great opportunities, and I hope you take advantage of that. And if you ever have questions on it, feel free to get a hold of us here at Wisconsin Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom. Thank you.